In 2011, a man stepped into one of the most exclusive casinos in the world. He was dressed well, but unassuming. No flashy watches, no entourage, no high roller attitude, just a calm demeanor and a quiet confidence. He walked past rows of slot machines and blackjack tables until he reached the Baccarat section. Within hours, he had raked in millions. The casino staff was stunned, not because someone had won big, that happens, but because of how he did it. He never counted cards, never cheated in the traditional sense. He simply played and won again and again and again. His name? That's still debated. Some say it was a team. Others say he acted alone. But what's undeniable is that he pulled off one of the most mysterious and controversial casino wins of the 21st century, and he did it with nothing more than a camera. To understand how, you first need to understand Baccarat. Unlike poker, Baccarat doesn't rely on bluffing. Unlike blackjack, you don't make split-second decisions with every card. Baccarat is elegant in its simplicity. Bet on the player, the banker, or a tie. The dealer does the rest. Cards are drawn, totals are calculated. The hand closest to 9 wins. That's it. High stakes, low skill, or so it seems. But in the world of high-stakes Baccarat, there's something called card sequencing, and to the trained eye, it's gold. Card sequencing is the art of recognizing patterns in the way cards are shuffled and dealt. If you can predict what cards are coming next, even loosely, you can shift the odds dramatically in your favor. It's not illegal. It's not even technically cheating, but it's rare and very hard to pull off, unless you have help. That's where the camera comes in. The man, let's call him Player X, had a tiny device hidden discreetly in his sleeve or possibly even disguised as a button. Every time the cards were shuffled, the camera recorded, but not the entire table, just the edges of the cards. Why? Because modern casinos use automated shufflers and pre-checked decks. But if you know how those decks are prepared and shuffled, you can predict the order of cards based on the scuff marks, cuts, or tiny manufacturing defects, what's called edge sorting. The camera wasn't filming for dramatic effect. It was gathering data, microdata. When Player X returned to his hotel room, the footage was uploaded. A team, likely based remotely, would analyze the video, reconstruct the order of the cards, and send back predictions for the next session. They likely used algorithms and image enhancement software to clean up blurry frames, match edge patterns, and simulate card orders. It wasn't just one man's memory anymore. It was surveillance meets data science. And here's the thing. The technology didn't need to be groundbreaking. They weren't using some black market supercomputer. What they needed was clarity, consistency, and time. All they had to do was analyze a repeatable shuffle, compare it to previous patterns, and then match that against the cards visible in the footage. With enough footage, even a few seconds of exposed card edges could be reconstructed into a reliable betting model. When Player X returned to the table, he suddenly seemed clairvoyant. He knew when to bet big, when to pull back, when to push everything forward, and the wins just kept coming. The casino started to notice. Pit bosses leaned in, surveillance teams reviewed tapes, but nothing seemed out of place. Player X wasn't touching the cards. He wasn't talking to dealers. He wasn't colluding. Just a man betting big and winning bigger. For most casinos, this would be a red flag. But for elite establishments, places that thrive on high roller mystique, it was a dilemma. You can't accuse someone of cheating without proof. And even if you had proof, going public could damage your brand. So they watched and waited and tried to find the flaw. Meanwhile, Player X kept winning. Some reports suggest he cleared over $10 million in a matter of weeks. Others say it was more. What's important is this. He wasn't winning by chance. He was winning by design. Eventually, things escalated. A pattern was detected. It wasn't in how Player X played, but when he played. He only appeared on nights when a specific set of cards was being used, and only when a certain dealer was working. Not because the dealer was in on it, but because that dealer had a very specific way of handling the cards, a habit of cutting the deck just slightly the same way every time. That tiny detail allowed the team analyzing the footage to better predict card order. It was like a fingerprint. The casino finally confronted Player X. No handcuffs, no scene, just a quiet meeting in a private room. They asked him to leave, permanently, and they froze his winnings. Lawsuits followed. Accusations flew. The casino argued that even if what he did wasn't technically illegal, it violated the spirit of fair play. Player X's team argued that they simply used observation, memory, and technology, nothing more than what casinos themselves use to track and predict player behavior. And that's where things got messy. Because if using a camera to observe cards is cheating, what about casinos using facial recognition, AI pattern detection, and behavioral analytics on players? Where do you draw the line between observation and manipulation, between fair advantage and unfair control? Player X's story raises uncomfortable questions, not just about gambling, but about data, about power, about who's really in control. Because the truth is, casinos aren't just playgrounds for adults. They're laboratories. Every spin, every bet, every blink is recorded, analyzed, and used to build better systems. Systems designed to make you think you're winning just before you lose. And Player X flipped that model. He used the system against itself, outsmarted the house not by breaking the rules, but by understanding them better than the people who made them. Casinos are built on the illusion of chance. The idea that with just the right mix of luck and intuition, anyone can beat the house. But in reality, they rely on meticulous mathematics and psychological manipulation. Everything, from the layout of the room, to the temperature of the air, to the placement of the bathrooms, is optimized for one purpose: to keep you playing, to keep you feeding the machine. And yet, here was a man who saw through that, who turned the same technology casinos used against them. It wasn't just brilliant, it was poetic. The aftermath of the case is still debated. Some say Player X was paid off quietly, others say he was blacklisted from every major casino on the planet. One theory suggests he sold his method to other teams, spawning a short-lived wave of copycats before casinos changed their procedures. There were even rumors of casinos pooling resources to hire consultants and data scientists to reverse engineer Player X's methods so they could patch vulnerabilities before they were exploited again. One thing is clear, the game changed, literally. Card shuffling procedures were updated, dealers were retrained, surveillance systems were upgraded, and the days of using edge sorting and high-stakes Baccarat largely came to an end. But not because of ethics, because of exposure. The Player X incident wasn't just about money, it was about control. And in a world where control equals power, casinos couldn't afford to lose face. They couldn't let one man, one camera, rewrite the rules of engagement. So they adapted, quietly, ruthlessly. Today, if you walk into a high-end casino, you'll still see Baccarat tables, still see whales betting 6 figures a hand. But you won't see what Player X saw. The flaws have been polished, the patterns erased, the edge was sorted out of existence, and if anyone tries again, the casino is ready. Because it's not just about keeping the house edge. It's about maintaining the illusion that the house is always in control. In the end, maybe Player X didn't break the system. Maybe he just revealed it, showed us that every game, even one as simple as Baccarat, is built on patterns. And if you can see the pattern, you can beat the game. But only once. Because the moment the house realizes you're not playing the way they expect, they don't just change the game, they erase it. Thanks for sticking around to the end of this story. If you found this as fascinating as we did, make sure to hit that subscribe button, drop a like, and turn on notifications. We've got more real-life casino secrets, crazy heists, and digital deceptions coming your way. You don't want to miss what's next.